Welcome back to It's a Graham and Matt podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Graham. It's our buddy Alan. Alan's trying to like resurrect or like get in tune with Ziggy Stardust or something down there.
Yeah.
Where's your face paint, Alan?
What's the other one? Oh yeah, this. Yep, this right here. So, judging by the backgrounds, tonight is a special night. Tonight is episode 1 of 2, where we talk about some conspiracies. So we're in a weird world right now of fake news and conspiracy theories, and we kind of want to talk about that. Not only because is it interesting to know about and kind of dispel some of that weird shit that people believe, but the shit's just interesting, honestly. A lot of today's shit is driven by these weird ass conspiracy theories, and we want to talk about it a little bit. Might hurt Graham's feelings tonight.
What? We're not doing anything that's gonna hurt my feelings tonight, are we? That's gonna be the first thing we do.
No, I mean Graham made a pretty much a hard no discussing anything to do with 9/11.
Pretty much.
Tonight we're breaking that.
You get like 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Put a fucking timer on. I won't even talk. I'll give you 2 minutes.
I'm just gonna
Alan, I'm muting you or unfriending you, one of the two.
Yeah. So if my favorite topic. So what we plan to do here is we wanted to bring up certain conspiracies that we wanted to discuss. So Alan and I are starting this episode. And then Graham and I will have another one next episode. But Graham wants to talk about the moon landing. That might take up the whole episode next week.
Come on now. I just want to bring up all the interesting stuff that's out there that really makes it compelling.
You mean like Kubrick?
Hey, you know what? That's fair. I mean,
yeah. You young little bitches better not gang up on this old man. So
calling us young bitches. What is this?
Boomer. Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I have more hair and more teeth than the two of you combined, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah, maybe on your ass. Jeez.
Hey.
So just to hop right into it,
there's no piddle paddling around here, huh?
No, because I'm really curious to hear about Alan's conspiracy. Alan told me a little bit about it, but I gotta hear more about this because the stuff I have is pretty heavy.
If it's not as cool as birds aren't real, I don't know if I want to listen to it.
That one is pretty good too. Alan, hit him with it. What is this shit you're trying to tell me about?
All right, hold on. So basically, one of my favorite ones is that Finland does not exist. So Finland as a country geographically does not exist. Yeah.
How deep in Reddit are you?
How?
Well,
who says this?
Give me some proof.
All right. So I'm gonna read the proof here for you because
Alan's gonna be like, "Have you ever been to Finland?"
The first headline on the internet here is, "Dude accidentally convinced the internet that Finland doesn't exist."
All you had to say was, "Have you ever been to Finland?"
Yeah.
Was it a 15-second TikTok, and that what made everyone listen? Did he show his butt?
No, it's
all right. Alan, lay it on us. What's the proof?
All right. So the proof here is that what are the Finnish people? Are they all in the conspiracy? No, people from Finland genuinely believe they are from Finland. In reality, they are from small towns on either the eastern part of Sweden or the western part of Russia or the northern part of Estonia. Basically, what it kind of all hinges on is that in the past 100 years, Japan and Russia have had like a relationship together. Like even during the height of World War II, when they were on opposite sides, they never really engaged in any battles. And so like it hinges on that Russia gave Japan fishing rights in their waters, and basically where Finland is actually sea, and the Japanese get to fish there, and the Trans-Siberian Railroad was actually was constructed so that it was constructed so that they could transport like the fish to Japan and stuff.
Okay, well, back up.
Hey, I guess Rob Zombie supports it.
Okay, so
wait. There's an interview. It says, but as luck would have it, during the writing of this piece, I happened to do an interview with Rob Zombie. I'll send you guys a link for an unrelated reason. So I decided to ask him if he've ever toured Finland and if he could confirm its existence. Rob Zombie says, that's a good question. I don't think I've ever been to Finland. I've certainly been around the area, but I think I've never been there. I don't have a photographic evidence of me being there. I have a blurry photo of me walking through the woods like a Sasquatch, so perhaps it exists. So,
okay,
this is weird.
So one of the things they're saying here is, what about the Finnish language? And it says, look up the similarities between the Finnish and Japanese language. How is Japanese fisherman called? Sekusiku silmasi. Did the fishing line get tangled? Okay, there's nothing in here about Finland. What?
You're reading a bad article. Here, simply put, Finland is the
article.
world's Canadian girlfriend that totally exists, you guys. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I love it.
Well,
I
I'm
love it.
curious. Like, so there's just a massive where the landmass is. It's just ocean.
Wait, here's another. No real country could so contently or consistently place first in education, healthcare, gender equality, literacy rates. Obviously, here we go. National stability and the least corrupt government in the world. Freedom of the press. There's no way it exists. That's another statement.
My other favorite one is, how did it get its name? Well, the country was originally made for fishing. What do fish have? Fins. Thus Finland.
What the fuck? Okay. This one here.
This is so stupid.
What about all of Finland's other exports other than Nokia? Finland's three biggest and three most well-known areas of industry are oil, tech, and software. The oil is gathered in offshore platforms where the rest of us believe the landmass of Finland is. Again, the Japanese get to avoid rigging regulations in this respect. The tech companies have already been explained above with the Nokia post, and software companies can easily redirect their IP addresses through the Finnish Sea. As for other Finnish exports, well, claiming Santa comes from your country isn't a viable way to get people to believe in it. Okay.
Seriously, it is like my favorite one.
Are you guys reading the article on Vice?
I'm on Reddit right
Reddit
now.
too.
Okay,
Yeah.
Vice has a pretty good. I gotta send you because it's pretty dang hilarious.
I am finished.
If you're not finished, well, you probably can't, and you know what? There's no shame in that, since frankly the country doesn't exist. Hell, the landmass that we believe is there doesn't exist either. And then the bottom of the article says, "Take that, you Finnish dickheads." Like, what the hell?
I'm finished and I have only one question. How do I profit from this? Step 1, spread conspiracy. Step 2, whenever you run into someone who finds the conspiracy plausible, kill them immediately. Step 3, ? Step 4, profit. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, this is ridiculous. Like,
How many people did this guy get to believe?
Oh, it's a pretty big community on Reddit. Like, seriously, like a lot of people, and like it started like some people think it's a joke. Some people may legitimately believe it's real. You just don't know.
This guy Jake or whatever his name is that did this whole thing. He said the guy, he goes, he still gets regular messages regularly. Some sending 3,000 word articles on how Finland really is a country, and others just sending the word Finland for some reason. And he goes, Finland is not good enough for me to believe that Finland exists. Just sending me the word Finland.
So basically what it all boils down to is Japan and Russia want to have their own secret fishing spot. Right. Is that the basis of this? Is that like they just pretend that it's not there and like it's a deal that the Western countries made?
Yeah.
It's not even it's not even close to Japan.
So, as insane as it sounds, conspiracy theorists have come up with a significant amount of evidence to back it up. Finland isn't a popular country that many people visit, so not many can say that they have actually seen it for themselves. They claim that the Trans-Siberian Railway was built to transport the catch from the Baltic Sea to Japan under the guise of Nokia hardware, which explains why Japan is the biggest importer of the brand's products, despite the fact that very few people in the country actually use them. Nobody uses Nokias anymore. Another claim is that social democrats are using Finland as an idealized model for how a liberal social democracy should be. That's fucking stupid. I don't understand.
My tattoo artist, I think, is living in Finland right now. I'm gonna message him.
No. Remember,
Yeah, you should.
But Finland doesn't exist, so how can he be there?
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, you're just gonna have to be like, you're just gonna have to go up to him, like, punch him in the face, and be like, "I'm tired of you lying to me."
You were really in Sweden, I know it.
Like you're just on this fishing boat in the middle of the Baltic Sea, and you're gonna sit here and lie about it.
And you're
That's
selling
not cool,
Nokia.
Like, wasn't there like that sniper in Finland that like killed like 50 Russians during World War II? Wasn't that in Finland?
Yes, that was he was known as the White Ghost. Like it was during the Winter's War. Like he has a ridiculous amount of like confirmed kills.
Yeah, apparently not. Confirmed my ass. He didn't even exist because Finland's not even real.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we at with this one? This is a debunk.
All right.
Sure.
Can we agree? Can we
I type
agree
in
that
the
this
white
is
ghost
debunked?
and I get shoes.
Fair.
It's Samo something. I can't remember exactly what his name was, but yeah.
So can we all agree that Finland is indeed a country, or is there any merit to this one?
No, it's a country.
Yeah, it's definitely a country. These guys are
I
dumb.
don't believe you, Alan.
Graham's a believer. He's a believer.
Oh my.
It's
Finland ain't real.
It's right online with my flat Earth theories that I so believe in. Thank you, TikTok.
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna save that one for episode 2 with
I am going to tell you, I have never, ever heard of flat Earth theories until I got on TikTok.
Oh, I've heard about them for
What?
sure.
Are you-
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Wow.
Yeah, flat Earth.
You want to know
is
why?
actually-
I don't listen to crazy, Alan.
That's fair. Well,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you're on
you guys did
Facebook.
find out that Alan and I definitely love our right-wing conservative radio news, so we definitely listen to crazy. I'm gonna save flat Earth for the episode with the moon landing because I feel like that goes hand in hand.
Oh.
Um,
I guess flat Earth's real then. Jeez.
Oh yeah. Okay, so second conspiracy.
This is
QAnon.
this is like the stupidest episode ever because we don't believe in any of these.
Oh, I believe in one. We're just not
Uh-oh.
there yet. You just wait.
Oh,
You
I
just
don't
wait.
want to hear
It's
it.
coming. Right now, we're talking about the shit that's super unbelievable and stupid.
Yeah, like Finland isn't real.
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't explained it
That's
like
my next
five,
tattoo is going to be that.
It's just Russia and Sweden, and then like nothing in between them.
Nothing. It's going to be just open water.
It'll just say open water with the words lie.
Well, if you look at that Reddit post that I think you were looking at, Matt, they have like
Yeah.
a map, and it's just like where Finland would be. It's just nothing. It's just blue.
Yeah, I saw that. That's so stupid.
This is the best thing ever.
Yeah. So QAnon is just as stupid, I think. The only problem with QAnon is a lot of people actually believe this shit. It's so stupid. But basically, QAnon, in a nutshell, is it's a conspiracy theory created on 4chan that basically claims Donald Trump is a secret genius. who ran for president to fight against the deep state, who sits in positions of power, uses their influence to get money, and rape children's. It actually says children's.
Children.
Children's. The
Well, it's good
hypothetical
that it's
Q.
multiple.
Yeah. The hypothetical Q is allegedly an insider in the Trump administration who is leaking information so people can join in the fight. The conspiracy is used by supporters of Trump to justify all of his crazy, stupid, corrupt, or bizarre behavior as some kind of 4D chess move. That's a super popular term. For example, they claim Trump spent all those years hanging out with Jeff Epstein and Maxine Gladwell because he knew he would run for president in the future, and associating with them would cause a light to be shined in this later when it comes out he hung out with them. So to take it a little bit deeper than that, there was this thing that came out before Q got, well, it was right around the time Q came on. You guys familiar with Pizzagate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was an online
yeah.
thing too.
Yeah. Pizzagate, for those of you who don't know, there's this pizza shop in DC that a lot of people go to. And the idea is that a lot of like weird satanic sex cult shit with children goes on there. And like they kill kids. Now, to be fair, this all came from like, the John Podesta emails from Hillary's campaign advisor.
Yeah.
There is some weird.
Here's the deal. There probably is some weird shit like that.
Oh yeah. Let me first and foremost say I fully believe that rich people and probably some politicians fuck kids, and it's not good. I think if you're in a position of power, that's definitely This, however, is just outrageous. There is some weird shit though, like John Podesta, Clinton's campaign manager, and the owner of the pizza shop, like they have some weird stuff, like weird paintings.
Oh,
and,
dude,
like,
the Clintons are the conspiracy in Washington for sure.
Oh yeah, like don't wrong the Clintons, you're gonna wind up dead for sure.
I mean, yeah, look what happened to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah,
I mean, he sure didn't hang himself.
No, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Hey.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people
David
think
Carradine
that,
killed himself by hanging himself.
yeah, and he had his dick in his hand.
Well, sounds like a Jeffrey Epstein thing. Right? No.
I think he just wanted to eat off and choke himself at the same time, honestly. But QAnon is, so they think that Trump is, so like I said, 4D chess. They think that Trump basically has this master plan that is influencing U.S. politics right now. And like everything from the impeachment to everything is all part of the plan. So you go on 4chan and you go to like community.win, basically a Reddit clone for Trumpies. They always talk about, trust the plan from Q and everything. So the idea is I don't know, that Trump was going to basically start arresting all of these Democrat elites. Not there's no Republican fucks kids, apparently, what they think. They definitely do. But Trump was going to come and arrest all of these people, and it's basically the storm. And like the January 6th insurrection, a lot of people were thinking that was the storm, and that Trump was going to get back into power, and all of this 4D chess is finally going to pay off. But there's a lot of question out there who Q is, and like what he's influencing, and is he actually real? And realistically, I think it was just a big troll or a psyop. A lot of people think it was a psyop by the government to root out far right extremists, which I hope that's actually what it was. But yeah, it kind of goes in with like that reptilian thing. Here's the problem.
The reptiles that hang out down in Antarctica with like Hitler and Elvis and stuff.
Elvis. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the problem with QAnon though. Like, how many times on social media have you guys seen that stuff like save the children? Like, have you seen posts like that? Save the children.
Yeah, dude, countless. Like, I have a lot of friends that like would share those posts all the time. Like, you have to save the children, or like the most recent one I can think of was the not Wish, the Wayfair debacle.
That was low-key kind of weird though. That was kind of weird. Like they had cabinets that were going for like 20,000 that were literally named the same thing as kids that were missing. That was weird. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I see things like all the time. Like I had a friend that posted something like, all this talk about wearing masks and all the conspiracies behind masks. I'd rather be talking about where are our children going. Or I'm not going to put a mask on my child because there could be duct tape under that mask and they won't be able to ask for help. Like, outrageous. Like, listen, nobody in this group is going to say that we shouldn't be aware in combating sexual traffic or sex trafficking. Like 100% that's an issue and it's something worth attention.
Yeah.
But the save our children bullshit, that's coming straight from that QAnon movement because it's all hinging on the fact that our kids are being stolen so they can be fucked by Democrats.
Well, and
it's stupid.
The scary thing is that like people that normally you would be like, yeah, they're not going to buy into like this weird out there conspiracy crap. They bought into that, like
hard,
really
hard. If people are buying into Finland's not real. Of course, they're buying into that.
Well, because like the thing is there's so many weird things that they can tie to it. Like, I mean, even if you look at like child sex trafficking, like literally nobody's going to say that's something that shouldn't be fought. Like we should all fight against that. But they've co-opted that movement into something greater and tied it back to this deep state bullshit about how Trump's playing 4D chess to root out the deep state. But the other things that are kind of goofy with it. So, Pizzagate #1 is still going on, no matter how many times it's disproven.
Yeah, that was being said. Well, and again, like I will say that there was a part of me when I heard that story come out, I was like, "Shit could be shit's true." Like, yeah, it makes sense. This could be true, because it was so well put together.
Oh yeah,
and maybe it was, and they just suppressed it super hard, like, I mean, that's the other thing too that could be done, that's with a lot of these things that are like so close, like the narrative is so close to being like completely believable, that you just at that point you still never know.
I do think that sometimes conspiracies may have a grain of truth. The only problem is that this one is so heavily politicized where it's such an issue. Because I mean, it's basically like I said. I mean, they're saying that the left is doing this, and all of these symbols that you see in government every day have to do with going back to Pizzagate. But the problem is, like, well, I mean, the weird things, like, I mean, the dude that owned that pizza shop, like, he changed his profile picture to some Greek statue, and that Greek statue, was somebody who like loved having sex with boys or something like that. And they had different terms and they've co-opted different symbols that like pedophiles use online. So there are some weird things that could just be a coincidence. It's kind of like at CPAC this weekend, the stage looked like a Nordic rune that was used by Hitler on the SS uniforms, but they call it a coincidence. So you have to kind of wonder how many of these things are coincidences, or maybe somebody's just trolling. I don't know. But it freaks me out because so many people buy into it. Like people that you think are intelligent, but they go hard into it.
Well, I know so many people that dive into any of that stuff. And at that point, to me, it's just like you're just ignorant. You just don't know enough. Like, because you're willing to listen to everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without doing any research, or that's the thing too. Like the internet, there ain't much you can really trust on the internet anymore.
No,
I don't think. I mean, you can keep looking. We could keep looking at the same topic over and over again. Your Google search is going to be different than mine, and vice versa. So if we all type in the same conspiracy theory, we're all going to get different search results, and each one of our opinions are going to be different because of what we have read, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so hard to like get people to be on the same page of like what reality is versus what conspiracy or falseness is,
Yeah. Do you guys remember how I was talking about during the during those riots and everything, like the president was like, people were watching like the flight logs and everything and like seeing where the president was going and all that? Like that ties into a lot of this too, because a lot of these people thought that insurrection that happened, or whatever you want to call it, whatever happened there.
It was
A lot of people thought that the military was actually going to turn against Joe Biden during all of that, that the National Guardsmen were going to come in and they were going to detain President Biden and say tons of voter fraud. President Trump actually won. Like there's going to be an actual military coup within the country, which
Could you well, one, you got to be, holy crap, like if you were to believe that, how loosey-goosey are you?
oh yeah, but that's the problem is a lot of these people aren't straight up loosey-goosey kind of people. Like these are people like you and I that are just, they're seeing just enough truth that they can attach themselves to the bigger lie, and it's not an issue. Because I think especially in the internet age, we're at a point now where anything's believable. Like I could post this big long thing on Facebook and tie in tiny bits of truth along the way, and I
With
can
some
tell
photos and some videos that you made to look real.
oh yeah, and I could create a lie so fast because it's weird because people they want to believe like so back in the day with like Nessie or Bigfoot or other cryptids that were out there, all it took was for a few people in the village to say, yeah, I saw it, and everybody's like, oh yeah, it's real. And now
hey,
years,
you leave
decades
Bigfoot out of
later,
this.
it's still
Bigfoot's
believable.
real.
yeah, I mean, and like we have all this.
What are you
technology
mocking,
now.
Alan? I didn't hear that one. What did you mock?
I said you leave Bigfoot out of this. Bigfoot's real, man.
Yeah. We have this technology now where we can track, like in Lake Nessie or Loch Ness, to see if Nessie's in there. Haven't found shit. There's still people that believe it, but now we think, oh, we have technology now. We have word of mouth that spreads faster on the internet. We can dispel truth or dispel lies much quicker. When the opposite is true. I mean, it's so easy now to sell a lie on the internet, and so many of these people have fallen into that lie. Like literally, you have like I think like Trump supporters are the biggest example, just because like they're all bought into this idea that Democrats want to just let all the illegal immigrants into the country, and they want all the black people to like impregnate the white women and all this stuff. Like that's shit they actually believe, and like it's funny, it's comical, but fuck, they think that's a real threat in this country because that's the lie that they've been told, and they have a big old hive mind around
So
it.
you mean like where the white women at?
Yeah, yes.
But do that again, because that was almost spot on, Alan.
Where the white women at?
Yeah.
So with that, like people believing this stuff, and so let's take a little moment, like with an Alex Jones situation.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so Alex Jones, who was the other guy, the other big guy that was on Fox?
Tucker Carlson?
No.
Rush Limbaugh? Sean Hannity?
Dang, he got taken off the air, and he does his own thing.
Glenn Beck?
Glenn Beck.
Yeah.
So, back in the day, like I listened to both those guys back when we first started our podcast, because both of them had some credible tone to their voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And passion behind them, and that passion seemed like it was legit. And when you see them on like a national televised show, like on Fox or something like that, not that I'm a Fox believer, but I'm just saying, like when they're on a televised network that's a top tier network,
it lends it more credibility.
It lends him more credibility. So you start listening to that.
Yeah.
And like I bought a couple of his books, trying to check some of his stuff out, trying to see what the believability is there. And some of it I was like, man, all right, dude, like I don't know about that. And then someone was like, oh, legit.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they're allowed to, like, when people are allowed to reach the masses like that, like Alex Jones, oh my Lord, I sent you guys a link today. And it was less about like what the link was and just how he communicates.
Mm-hmm.
And how like before he was totally believable, right?
Yeah.
Because he was serious, the camera angles and the zooms and the articles in the background and his desk full of papers, and you believe some of that, and his sincerity and how he talked. And then it just blew up, and he got crazy, like batshit crazy, right? So now you can't even like understand him because he's just like aliens, like you can't understand anything he's saying. But what's crazy about that is that people who didn't catch on to how he does have some truth to him, right? There's some truth that he tries to spew, but then it goes one way or another because he's a fear monger. That's his job.
Oh yeah.
But man, like I don't know. I listened to a full episode today, and I about barfed the whole way through because I'm like, how in the world did I ever listen to him before and go, does he have something there?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I felt the same way. Like, because like as you're starting to mature, like in your early adulthood, like you start to see the real world as it is differently than when you're a teenager, and like you see somebody like that who's like the government is lying to you, and you're like, well, maybe
Which
they are.
We know that's completely true.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, I mean, people forget that like Alex Jones was debunking like the Iraq War when it happened. Alex Jones snuck into Bohemian Grove, where like all these top Democrats and Republicans and other rich folks get together.
Not just other rich folks, world leaders too.
Yeah,
are
world leaders
are all invited
There's like
to
the
this.
Bilderberg group. Like they all go and they like do a ritual in front of this giant owl.
The burning of the cares, or what or something like that.
And
basically,
like,
where
they call it like a play.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a weird ritual, and like they're like, oh, it's a play. It's like a tradition, but it's a fucking.
It's the tradition. It's the tradition of where like they write down. It's supposed to symbolize, we're all here to like try to, learn from each other or whatever reason they give.
Well,
and then
here's the deal.
Yeah,
I trust a guy who sells a shirt that says "fuck Biden" with next to a male wiener enhancer next to a guide to North American strategic relocation book. Yeah,
I mean, I tell you what, I bet you that relocation book is filled with great knowledge, though, and I ain't even joking when I say that.
I bet you that super male vitality really gives you a hard on.
Yeah, that like
why is he selling? Why is he selling? Hanson, what's going on? I'm so confused now.
He sells that.
Does sell pills and
like literally most of InfoWars' income comes from that shit, from the T-shirts, from the supplements, all that shit. That's how he makes money because he's deplatformed as fuck. Like he's not on
there's
Twitter.
No way that he is.
But he has a massive following and a massive bankroll. But I mean, he was on Joe Rogan, and honestly, I think that was probably one of the best episodes I've listened to because on the outset, you're like, man, Alex Jones is fucking crazy. But then on the other side, some of the shit he's talking about, he brings receipts, and he's like, look.
That's just it too. And I listened to the Joe Rogan. I thought it was a really good episode because I felt like he was. I mean, he was out. He's out there, but I felt like he was him. Does that make sense? Like I think we got a true version of him, not his personification.
Human hybrids. That kind of
for how many years did we talk about like late night talk show hosts actually being the news, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And for a long time, Alex Jones type personalities and Glenn Beck personalities were the news, right? Because they had some validity to what they were saying, but they got some batshit crazy stuff. So, when you get and they're a character, right? So all these guys that we see on TV for late night, like they're all characters. They're still a character. Like when we're why am I forgetting the guy that moved over to Stephen Colbert?
Oh yeah,
like that was news, right? It was satire.
Yeah,
but the believability of it, knowing that it was satire because they played it off that and try to put as much truth out there potentially.
Yeah.
And so when you see those and they're characters and they all say that like we're a character, but then they break that character every once in a while. That's how I felt with Alex Jones on the Joe Rogan podcast. I was like, all right, this is Alex Jones. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily the guy that's on InfoWars. there's part of him there, but he's selling a platform. He's selling crazy. That's his job.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
what
he
sucks
actually
about it is
believes
it makes people go crazy.
Yeah, like
Well, I
when he
mean,
goes
I
off on
like
his
what
rants about Hillary and like the sulfur
Yeah, I was saying,
follows
it's
her
just like
sulfur and their
Yeah.
cloven feet.
Yeah.
Just all that. I mean, come on.
I've always thought that he actually legitimately believed the stuff he said, and to some degree, I still think he does. But I mean, like when he was being sued by somebody, he's like, it's all an act, like it's for entertainment purposes.
That
But I
that
mean,
was that was custody of his children when he was getting
yeah. But the
divorced.
thing is, when he's at Trump rallies and stuff, he's not saying that. He's not saying it's fiction. Like, I mean, he's like, we're gonna fight. There's evil afoot, and it's our time to like go and stamp out evil. Like he's inciting these people.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
here's the thing, and I'm glad we brought up Alex Jones. It kind of does lead into like the next part of this, and that's the whole thing about government lying to us and everything. Because Alex Jones, like his biggest things is he talks about how the government is corrupt and the government is lying to us. But I mean, he's using real life examples. I mean, so we talk about Gulf of Tonkin. It's a lie. You know, like Gulf of Tonkin was fabricated so that we'd go to Vietnam. Operation Northwoods is the most popular one. So that whole idea behind Operation Northwoods is kind of like the Reichstag fire in World War II, or pre-World War II. It's setting up a false flag attack and blaming it on someone else in order to go to do military conflict with that person. So the idea is bombing a large building, flying a plane into a building, and then blaming it on the Cuban government. And so the idea was that
the
was
Cuban government. Okay, see, I haven't paid attention to this one at
Yeah,
all.
this is Operation Northwood. So
I mean,
got it right here.
like
So,
just
I'm
before
looking it up
just
right now.
before you go on, it kind of sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? Like everything that happened.
it does.
Like something that happened in our childhood, Matthew.
Absolutely. So that the whole idea is that they would have a false flag attack within the United States. So flying a plane into a building, bombing someplace, and the shittiest thing about it is it basically hinges on the idea of killing a lot of civilians. Because then not only does it give us justifiable cause, quote unquote, but it also gives the government civilian support. And so those not familiar with like the Reichstag fire, so when Hitler was coming to power, his cronies set fire to the Reichstag, which is basically like the House of Parliament for Germany at that time. Blamed it on communists, Jews, whatever, and basically got full power. That's how he came to a dictatorial status in this country. Now, obviously, the United States can't just do something like that, right? So I mean, like, they don't want to have another situation where somebody's a dictator. So they wanted to take out Cuba, so they wanted to do that false flag attack so they could go take out Fidel Castro, stop the communists. However, it never came to fruition. It got shot down. But that does bring us to 9/11.
And actually, I just want to add,
And have a good night.
I just want to add to that, like when you talk about the Cuban Missile Crisis, there's also connecting to that conspiracies that not JFK but the military-industrial complex was in cahoots with Russia, and like help them set that up so that they could potentially move the Cold War into an actual open conflict.
Yeah, absolutely. And like,
I'm happy that we went to JFK because that took us out of 9/11. Thanks, Alan.
Yes, JFK basically said, no, we're not doing this, which JFK is awesome. But if we take a look at the history, right? So the lessons learned on something like that is, if the government wants more power, the best way to do that is to make an invisible enemy. And so the conspiracy theory goes that 9/11 is basically our modern day Operation Northwoods. So you have planes that fly into a building, and we blame it on an ideology and say, you know what, because of this terrorist group, now we're going to start a massive war. Number one. Number two, you know, we can do things like the Patriot Act and like empower the NSA more, and so basically limiting our freedoms, giving the government much more power in the name of, well, we're stopping terrorism. And I personally believe in this one. Like, call me crazy, say I'm insane, but I do personally believe there's more to 9/11 than what we've been told.
I agree with you that there's actually more than what we've been told. Like, there's some real kind of like we know for a fact that they knew that there was Al Qaeda had, or not Al Qaeda, whatever. That Al Qaeda had something planned for that day, that there was planned attacks, and we did nothing. There was actionable intelligence, and they didn't do anything about it.
I mean, there's that's one side of it. Like, that is basically the negligence theory of, we knew it was coming, we did nothing so that we could do something more. There's also the idea, I mean, because I'm pretty sure, Alan, you might have to fact check this, or Graham fact check this, but there was war games prior to 9/11, and the scenario was planes hitting the World Trade Center. But I mean, the thing that's weird about 9/11 is, you know, number one, there's no footage of something like the Pentagon. The only footage that's there is like a half a second clip of what looks like a missile hitting the Pentagon. The maneuvers taken for the Pentagon was a damn near impossible maneuver by an experienced pilot. And from what we know about these hijackers is that they failed flight school. Were they in flight school? Yes. They also failed flight school. Do you guys know how they identified one of the hijackers?
No.
I'm trying to remember.
They found his passport in the rubble at the World Trade Center.
Yeah. Which I don't know about that.
Right. And so the other thing, so like the hijackers that they crashed the plane, in Pennsylvania or something like that?
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
There's parts of a plane that are like literally indestructible. And we see plane crashes, not all the time, thankfully, but we see plane crashes in the past where there's still shit laying around everywhere. But there's nothing of this plane. You know, there's no seats. It's just a big old pile of trash. And we're supposed to believe that that was a plane.
Yeah, and actually the pressure dome that they have to put in all these aircraft, that one, like, that's one of those pieces that is nigh indestructible. Like, right. It is, like, super thick. I mean, it's designed to keep the pressure in the cabin when they're higher up in the atmosphere, when the pressure is a lot less. I mean, like, preventing, like, a sort of explosive decompression.
Right. And so you have that. And then if you even just look at, like, the actual, like, ground zero. So, I mean, there's traces of thermite powder around the perimeter, which is a material used in controlled demolition. We're supposed to believe that a plane hits both towers. They come down, obviously. But then you have Building 7, not even hit by a plane, that has fires that apparently weakened the structure, and it goes in a free fall, inward implosion, much like we see with a controlled demolition.
Basically, what Matt is saying, people, is jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
It can't. It fucking can't. There's been fires in other skyscrapers, and that have burned just as hot, burning for days. Nothing collapsed. And, you know, there was a bombing in the World Trade Center already previously in the basement.
Yeah,
that one actually was Bin Laden, though. For sure, that was Bin Laden.
Yeah, that was like 1992. That was 93. Clinton administration. Yeah.
Yep. But here's the problem: like, people
want to be what, 5?
4.
Yeah,
4.
I was 4.
But
people
5.
get upset about 9/11 because, like, well, why would the government do that? That's all these innocent people that got killed.
That's not where I'm at with it. Like, when we talk about, like, the touchy subject part, and we don't need to talk about the touchy subject, but for me, like, in that moment, I do remember that I tried to sign up again for the military because I was, again, pissed because what do? You react to what you see, right? To what you hear, to what you're being told, what you're being spoon-fed.
Yeah.
The older I got, the more time spent into it. And trying to be logical about it, I'm with you. Like, I don't believe that the planes took the towers down. There's no way.
Right.
There's no way. And watching over and over and over and over and over and over and over again videos, you just know that, right? Logic says if you've ever seen anything come down that way, it's by strategic explosives. That's the feeling that I have, right?
Absolutely.
And I could be crazy, I could be wrong, whatever. It's 20 freaking years later. We'll find out when I'm 80.
I don't even think. Well, maybe. I mean, we
you gotta have enough time. Yeah. You gotta have enough time.
Here's the thing: is like we talk about like you can't trust the government, man. Like you said, I mean, the federal government funded the Tuskegee Institute, which is where they infected African American men in Tuskegee with syphilis just to see the progression of the disease,
just to see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is literally after we were, crying about like the human rights abuses in Nazi Germany, where they're experimenting on Jewish people, like all the science we have on things like hypothermia, right? That comes from human experimentation in concentration camps. Actually, we did the same thing. It's the same thing.
Oh yeah, Operation Paperclip, and the same thing. I can't remember what the name of it was, but Unit whatever in Japan, where actually most of our medical advancement that we have today all stems back to what those Japanese, camps did.
Yeah, the Japanese and the Nazis, dude. Like, we learned a lot from those guys.
And actually, the Japanese ones were far worse than the Nazi ones.
Yeah, I think I've read that. But then, like, I mean, we knew about Pearl Harbor before it even happened. Like, we needed an excuse to get into World War II. And that's what happened.
Yeah, because remember they failed with was it the sinking of the Lithuania?
That was in World War One. Lusitania. Yeah, that is what got us in originally. But I think that was another situation where we kind of knew it was going to happen. But here's the thing about 9/11 is people don't want to believe that our government could do something like that. But I mean, if you take a step back and you look at all the different surrounding shit about it, energy, so oil, controlling the oil, a global agenda of basically we're going to occupy most of the globe and have bases everywhere and control world affairs. The Patriot Act, having more control over our day-to-day lives. And even what Graham and I were talking about in the old podcast is, things like the NSA, all of that was okayed. And here's why. Because in that moment after 9/11, the country was unified. And we literally let the government do whatever they wanted to do. We're going to go to Afghanistan and kill a bunch of towel heads. Let's fucking go. Like, the whole country is like, fuck those guys.
Yep.
I don't care. I don't care. And think about all the problems Arab Americans had here. We were united in hatred of a group of people that may or may not have been responsible. But, in the end, they were a casualty worth having for geopolitical dominance and dominance within our own country on the American people. And we gave those freedoms willingly.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that continues to happen. So here's a good list of some American conspiracy theories. So the number 10 is, this is just a has-been thing from How Stuff Works. It says number 10, there was advance notice about 9/11. That's a conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Quick blurb on that. I think we already think that that's potential. Why not? We have intelligence that's insanely top-notch, right? And they go back and they talk about how they were following these guys and all this stuff when they were doing all this flight training and blah, 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 blah. And they're going in and out of our country. Like, there was potentially advance warning, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but wasn't that one of the big things that, like, Edward Snowden, like, one of the reasons why he like started going public was he started like not only the Patriot Act but started learning some more about like pre-Patriot
I don't
Act.
know about. I don't know anything about that.
Or was
I
that
mean,
or was that WikiLeaks guy?
we've been getting spied on forever, but when it comes to that particular theory, Graham, I personally think that is a cover up. I think that's a way for them to take some blame without taking the whole brunt of the blame. But you can go on. That's my thoughts on that one.
Okay, number 9, they say alien experiments occurred in Area 51. We're supposed to find out some about that stuff this year. That was a Trump thing, that UFO and alien paperwork is supposed to come out by June, right? So we should start finding out about that.
Aliens.
Alex Jones talks about that a lot. Alien human hybrids, dude. That's his big thing.
The aliens guy. Aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
And pyramid. The aliens built the pyramids. You know, haven't you seen Stargate, man?
Oh my God. Well,
what's the next one?
That might be another one we have to talk about, because I think differently than sarcastic ass Alan at the bottom of the screen here.
What's the next
Martin Luther King's assassination was a government plot.
100%.
Yep. I'm actually with you on that, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they hired aliens from Area 51 to go and kill him.
Oh, nope, I don't believe that.
No.
The CIA definitely killed him.
Yep.
Chemtrails are intentionally poisoning the American people.
I don't believe that, but I do think it's weird that jet fighters are constantly, literally over every part of the country.
Yeah.
I'd like more explanations as to why, but I don't believe it. I don't believe in chemtrails.
The contrails is very easily explained by science. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, Matt, it's weird that there's jet fighters flying over every part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's called urban training, is what I've found.
Yeah.
Vaccines do more harm than good.
Oh God.
Yeah.
We'll find out, because I took my second dose. So if I don't make it,
Alan also took 2 doses of that.
Yep, I got my second.
I don't have access to the vaccine yet, or else I probably would take it too.
I'll be honest, I'm still here, so I mean, I only feel a slight urge to worship Bill Gates and buy more Microsoft. So
that's fair.
Number 5, the CIA created AIDS to wipe out gays and blacks. That could have been an episode in our first series 7 years ago.
Yeah, we would have had a lot of fun with that one. I don't believe that one.
No.
Yeah.
If you believe in that one, you're more apt to believe that COVID-19 is also a government plot. But anyways, continue.
What? The moon landing was fake. Yeah.
Fuck that! That's so stupid.
Dumb.
FDR knew. Moving on. FDR knew that Pearl Harbor was going to happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was.
It makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, what's that song by Metallica? Disposable Heroes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people on those ships were disposable heroes,
and
there's truth in war for centuries that is a thing that happens. It's
100%.
And
it is a play that you have to do.
I don't think that's just a conspiracy. I believe that there were some documents that were recently declassified in the last 10 years.
You better fact check yourself. That's a big one. I mean, FDR is our national park savior.
No, that was Teddy. That's Teddy, not
FDR. Teddy. Well, whatever. Oh, yeah, because that's who you named your kid after. Wait, no, he was a football player.
FDR. After my grandpa. FDR is father of Social Security.
Yeah.
He's daddy's Social Security.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Plus, he's the reason why there's a 2-term limit on the president.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, he is the reason why there's a 2-term, because he did 3.
4.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because he took a break. He did a 4-year break and then came back.
What? No, that's not true. You guys need to fact check yourselves.
Hey, that's part of the Mandela effect. You're wrong. We're right.
I'm gonna look it up.
I gotta look that
That's
up
another
now.
theory we should talk about, the Mandela effect.
6. He was gonna serve a 4th term, I believe, but he died in his 4th term.
That's right.
He did. He died within like the first 2 months, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
It was early, but he did hit 4 terms.
Yep.
Yeah.
FEMA concentration camps will imprison anti-government activists.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Matt,
There was weird stuff that they're building, but I think they just blew it way out of context.
Matt, that actually kind of ties into the basically the camps down at the border camps.
Yeah. I think that with that whole thing, there was just some stuff out of context. But
I think FEMA is dangerous. I think there's a dangerous plot with them potentially.
Well, remember
episode.
FEMA's response to Hurricane Katrina and how disorganized and poor they were. So
they're black. That'd be fine. That's what FEMA said.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why I think there's weird things with them too.
Yeah, FEMA said.
The New World Order is bent on global domination.
Ooh, see, like maybe, but
that's number one.
I kind of believe that a global government is the potential future of the world.
Well, so I was listening to Prime Minister this morning, and he was talking about Biden dropping some bombs on Syria, kind of going back after. And then Iran, and talking about the king of Iran was absolute like, yes, I murdered this dude. I had people murder the
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, thank you. This is why you shouldn't believe anything Graham says. Because I thought it was Finland. I'm sorry. That's fucked up.
Finland don't exist, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't we already decide on that?
But so anyway, like there's implications. There's people's assets being cut, their money being pulled. These 20-some people that were all a part of this murder, right? This gruesome murder. But the king is flat out like implicated in this, and essentially what the prime minister said. Well, what do you think about the king being like, yes, I did this horrendous thing. I'm the creator of this horrendous thing. But essentially getting a slap on the wrist or nothing happened to him. And essentially the prime minister is like, well, he's very important. And we have to work with very important people in that region.
Well, yeah, it's because that's where all of our oil is coming from.
Yeah. And so, some of these things, some of those theories, like the New World Order type stuff and things like that, come down to like just the acceptance, right? Like anyone who believes that a president has never killed somebody, they might not have pulled the trigger, but they signed the document saying it could happen.
Yeah.
And those things are political. Those things are war. Those things are personal. Like they're all three, right?
Yeah.
Those things are trial too. We don't know how nuclear bombs work if we don't drop a bunch of nuclear bombs, right?
Right.
We don't know how anything works if we don't test it out on real people, whether that's vaccines, ammunition, whatever it could be, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting how like when you listen and you start looking broader, those possibilities are real. And at some point, why not, right? Like, isn't that the goal for humanity is to be united?
Yeah, I mean, that's why at the end of the day, I really think the only thing that'll save the species is something like a global government. And like people get really afraid of that with the whole nationalism and all that. And somebody out in Brussels or whatever making rules for people in America. But honestly, like if you look at like most science fiction films, right, or shows, there's no governments anymore in terms of humans. Like we are functioning as a human race, and we have like basically a government of the human race.
Like you said, like most science fiction, which is like generally hopeful in what we aspire to as a species, always ends up being with a unified one Earth government type deal. Like Star Trek has the United Federation.
But guess what? They're racist too, because they hate Klingons and Vulcan. I mean, that's a funny thing when you look at weird segue here and does like that type of stuff. But like, what's funny about those type of things when like people are worried about the New World Order and this and that, I think looking at sci-fi is a really good thing. One, for technology, and two, for like the potential of like what our history could be, right? Yeah. So like you look at the Star Trek thing where like we finally Third World War and the world's been decimated and we come back together and slowly rebuild and become this galactic power, but we're all unified, right? And money doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, sex and creed doesn't matter, all that jazz. But then we get to space and we're like, fuck those aliens, you know, and then the whole process starts over. So they never talk about that in there, but when you watch it like now as an adult, you really like see like this process is never gonna go away.
Oh yeah,
Never gonna go away. Chaos will never go away until the last speck of electron or neuron or whatever it is in our universe fades out.
Yeah, that's biology 101.
Bam.
And you know,
You've just been taught here on the Graham and Matt podcast.
I mean, and then the other thing too that usually in science fiction that unites Earth is alien invasion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's like either
I really think alien invasion. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
alien invasion or nuclear holocaust. Those two are going to be the things that unite the human race or the human species outside of national borders.
Yep.
So,
correct.
well, I think now is a good time to pause.
Yeah.
Pausing episode 1.
Pausing episode 1.
Part
so next week, part 1 is finished. Next week, we will talk about flat Earth and how we did land on the moon. Don't listen to Graham; he's dumb.
Yep.
So I hope you guys liked this. Feel free to share with your friends. This is a really fun episode. Remember to check out our Discord. Check out Facebook. Graham put a new logo on there, it looks like, or Alan, one of the two.
I tried a new one.
Hey, I like it. Make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube and comment. That's how we're doing. But yeah, this has been It's a Graham and Matt podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Graham.
And I'm Alan.
Peace, y'all.